Bye.
Hello students, hope you are all doing well. Once again welcome back to our biology class. Myself Dr. Raghavendra here. Well, in the earlier class we discussed about the basic introductory part regarding the animal tissues, right? So, animal tissues as such, what is the basic definition for tissue? I have mentioned tissue is a group of differentiated cells, and these cells are differentiated and they have the common origin as well as they are having the common function also. So these cells will combine together and then they perform a similar kind of function. That's why they are called as the group of cells called as the tissues. Well, so tissues, when they actually getting differentiated, when they originate, to tell you that yes, as the sperm and egg fuses, a diploid cell formed we call it as a zygote. This zygote keep on undergoing cellular divisions, and those divisions are called as mainly cleavage, right? All are mitotic division only, it is called as a cleavage. Well, so as the embryo keep on dividing and redividing, yes, it is going to form a stage called as a blastocyst. Inside it has a cavity blastocyst. After that, yes, it is going to further develop as a stage called as gastrula, and at that stage gastrocele or gut cavity is forming. At the same time, three germinal layers will form. We call them as endoderm, mesoderm and ectoderm, right? So these are the embryonic layers, are the major, what we can say, the source, or they are the original site of these tissues. Fine. So to say that the tissues are basically, number one, we call it as the epithelial tissue, right? So epithelial tissue, and yes, it is mainly originated from, what is its origin? Its origin, epithelium originates from either by the ectoderm and endoderm also, endoderm. So from both, yes, it originates. Fine. It may be the skin, or it may be the buccal cavity or pharyngeal cavity, epithelium, all that originate from, we can say, ectoderm. But there are the structures such as lungs are there is the pancreas, so, and even the mammary glands are there. So inner surface or glandular structures may be originating from endoderm. We call them as mainly the soft tissues or organs or visceral organs. The second kind of tissue, yes, we are going to discuss. It is called as connective tissue. Connective tissue. Fine. Connective tissue originates from mainly mesoderm. Connective tissue originates from mesoderm, and as such, the mesoderm mainly give rise to the formation of the blood, give rise to the formation of the bone also, and even there is areolar tissue, adipose tissue, tendons, ligaments, all these are connective tissues only, and they originate from mesoderm. The third type is mainly muscular tissue. Muscular tissue. Fine. Muscular tissue originates from, yes, muscular tissue also originates from mainly, we can say, mesoderm only. Mesoderm. So the muscles are basically three types: smooth muscles we say, skeletal muscles we say, cardiac muscles also we say. All they originate from mesoderm. Then the fourth type is mainly nervous tissue. Nervous tissue or neural tissue we say, and the nervous tissue, yes, surprisingly it originates from ectoderm. Ectoderm, yes. We may think that nervous tissue is the most deeper and inside. How it can be originating from ectoderm? Because at the time of gastrula stage, ectodermal cells going inside, and they are mainly going to make the nervous tissue or neural tissue. At the stage further of the mainly gastrula, It is called as a neurula or neural tube, notochord develops. All they develop from mainly ectoderm. Thus, we can say that there are four important basic type of tissues, and they have their own particular type of origin. This you need to know the basic thing. Fine. Further, we need to understand basically what is the epithelial tissue and different types of epithelium we are going to discuss. So let me take you to the most important concepts in fact regarding the tissues. As such, epi refers to be the surface. So the surface area that may be outside or that may be inner surface. So entirely it is mainly covered by the epithelium and epithelial tissue. So to say that the epithelial tissue as such, basically epithelial tissue is of 4 to 5 important types we can say. The first one is called as squamous. Squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium. Second is mainly we call as the cuboidal epithelium. Cuboidal epithelium. Then the third type is columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium. Then the fourth type is ciliated epithelium. Ciliated epithelium. Fine. The next is glandular epithelium. Glandular epithelium. Glandular epithelium. Basically, these four types of epithelial tissues, in fact, these are just a single layer of cells, we can say. Because of that, when they are single layer of cells, we call them as simple epithelial tissue. Simple epithelial tissue, we can say. When there are what we can say multiple layer of cells. So then when there is a multiple layer of cells, then that is become the multiple layer epithelium, or we can say that it is called as compound epithelium. So the most well known, the first category of epithelial tissue is simple epithelium. Second category of epithelium we call it as multiple layered compound epithelium. Compound epithelium. Sometimes, yes, this compound epithelium is also referred as stratified epithelium. Stratified epithelium. So this is the important thing you need to know. So as such animal tissue, in that the first one what we are discussing is about the epithelial tissue and the subcategories of epithelial tissues. Well, so here what you are observing mainly, as we know that the animal tissues and their origin. So this is the thing you need to know. Well, so the epithelial tissue, squamous epithelium, cuboidal, columnar epithelium, ciliated epithelium, glandular epithelium, as well as multi-layered compound epithelium, we are going to discuss in detail now. Fine. So what we will be discussing about all this? So we will be discussing the basic structure of mainly what we say the epithelium and how the cells are arranged, where they are mainly found, and then how they are very much useful to the entire body. That is one we are going to discuss. So as I told you, the first kind of mainly as such in the epithelium, the first kind of it is called as squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium is also called as pavement epithelium. Pavement pavement epithelium. Why it is so? Because pavement refers to be the tiles or the floor. On the floor, the tiles are very compactly arranged, like that the cells also. That's why they are called mainly pavement epithelium or squamous epithelium. By structure, we can see that yes, a small layer of these cells I have taken, and these cells are like this. They are very compactly arranged without any intercellular space. So there is no any gap between these cells. So the cells are highly and compactly well arranged, we can say. So these cells are compactly arranged and there is no gap between these cells. So without any gap the cells do exist and all of them are nucleated cells what you are observing, and these are uninucleated cells, and all these cells, yes, they are arranged on a single layer of the tissue. We call it as a basement membrane. Basement membrane we say. And then, so the nucleus. And then compactly arranged, no intercellular space, no intercellular space, and these are single layer of cells, we can say. These are the single layer of cells. So thus these squamous epithelium, the cells are flat. Okay. So structure, when we talk about as such, so structure says that cells are flat, uninucleated, it's a single nucleus, uninucleated, and then compactly arranged, without intercellular space, without intercellular space. This is the basic structure of what we say, mainly the squamous epithelium. Where else we can find these squamous epithelial cells location as such? When we talk about their location, we can say that inside the buccal cavity or mouth cavity, we call it as inside the buccal cavity, even in the pharynx. So after the mouth cavity, what comes next is the pharynx, and after pharynx, esophagus. So inside the buccal cavity and even in the pharynx, we can find the squamous epithelial cells, and inner surface of alveoli or respiratory alveoli, we can say inner surface of alveoli of lungs. And yes, in blood vessels, we can find. So no doubt these mainly the epithelial cells provide better protection. As such, we find them inside the buccal cavity. So we are eating some hard substance or very hot coffee or tea we are drinking. At that time, some of the cells will die, but they are very now again renewed by the presence of these squamous epithelium. In the pharynx, yes, we may be swallowing some hard food stuff, but mechanical damage may happen. So again, that is mainly prevented or the protection given by these squamous epithelial cells. Inner surface of the alveoli of the lungs means alveoli are basically hollow structures. As we breathe, we take the air. Inside the lungs, there are minute, what we can say, balloon-like structures. We call them as alveoli. and there only the diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide can happen. And in the inner surface we can find mainly the protective layer as such squamous epithelium we can find. In the blood vessels, yes, blood vessels are hollow tube-like structures, and in the blood vessels also we can find it. So what is the major function of these squamous epithelium? So when we look at regarding the functions, so looking into the structure we can guess they are the flat, so they can provide protection. So they give the protection to the delicate structures such as lungs, okay, such as the mouth or the gut system. They provide the protection, and yes, they provide mainly allow diffusion of substances. So in the blood vessel and between the tissues there should be a diffusion of nutrients and metabolic waste. There is in the blood vessel diffusion of nutrients and metabolic waste. In the lung it is a diffusion of CO2 and O2, means from the outside we are getting oxygen, but from the inside tissue we are leaving the carbon dioxide. So diffusion of gases. So as they are compactly arranged and they provide the protection in the mouth cavity as well as in the mainly the pharyngeal region of pharynx and in the lungs also. This is all about what we talk regarding squamous epithelium. So squamous epithelial tissue is very much a simple tissue, and in fact it is mainly providing the better protection, what we can say. Well, so let us understand now one more kind of tissue, that is the second type of epithelium we are going to discuss. What is that second type? Yes, I have given you the list earlier only, and what is that second type of epithelium is called as cuboidal epithelial tissue. Yes, we are going to study about the cuboidal epithelium also now. So when we are talking about cuboidal, as such the name itself indicates. So what is this cuboidal then? So cuboidal epithelium we can say. So as the name indicates, the cells are tube-like. So a simple diagram I am mentioning over here. So this is a layer of cuboidal epithelium. As such, we are finding the cells are, so almost their length, width, breadth, everything is the same, and these cells we call them as the cuboidal epithelial cells. So the cells are, we call them as the cube-like cells. So here these cells being a cube-like structures, what you are observing, these cells are cube-like structures, and they are highly protective also, and they are very much useful in absorption and secretion also. So the cube-like cells, basically they are providing the better protection as such. Fine, these are the cube-like cells what I am mentioning, and these cells basically provide better protection as such. So they provide protection, they are even involved in the secretion and absorption. Where else we can find these cells? Yes, these cells we can find mainly in the kidney also. These cells we can find even in the duct of lots of these glands such as liver or pancreas or mammary glands. So these cells, what we can say that they are arranged on the common basement membrane. We call it as a basement membrane. And then yes, cube-like cells, and then we can find mainly these are the nuclei. So single is called as nucleus, many are nuclei, cube-like cells compactly arranged. So on the basement membrane, and here is the condition, no intercellular space as such. So the structure, what it says, when we look at the structure, says that tube-like cells, uninucleated, compactly arranged on basement membrane. Where else we can find these cells as such? So when I talk about location of these cuboidal epithelium, we can say that they are found the inner surface of the ducts of salivary gland, and they can be found even the duct of pancreas and liver. So they are also observable. Okay, so these found in the PCT. What is this PCT? Proximal convoluted means much more coiled, convoluted tubule of nephron in kidneys. So they are specially modified cells. As such, when they have these cells, finger-like projections, we call them as microvilli. So cuboidal cell with microvilli, finger-like projections, microvilli. So cuboidal cells with microvilli, we can find these kind of cells in the PCT, proximal convoluted tubule of the nephron. As such, kidney is having millions of these nephrons, mainly the filtration of blood, where it occurs in the nephron. So there, these microvilli are present, they increase the absorption surface, they absorb good amount of water and required nutrients. So they increases the absorption surface, we can say. So what are the basic functions of cuboidal epithelium? Let me mention here functions. The functions as such, as epithelium, they provide protection, diffusion of substances, then they help in better filtration and reabsorption of material. Filtration mainly in the kidney, yes, they do that. Filtration and reabsorption. Other than that, as such, they are seen in the pancreas and liver duct also, and they also involved in secretion of substances. Secretions means releasing of the substances. Yes. So here cuboidal epithelium cells are tube-like you are observing, and they are very perfectly and compactly arranged without any intercellular space on a common basement membrane. Most of the cells are mainly uninucleated. So the cells tube-like, uninucleated, mainly compactly arranged on the basement membrane. Where they are seen, more of them they are observable mainly in the inner surface of the ducts of salivary gland, duct of the pancreas, duct of the liver. So these glands are called as exocrine glands because they have the duct. Fine. Now here even they are also observable in the, we can say, proximal convoluted tubule of nephron. Where we find nephron? Nephrons are seen in the kidney, and filtration of the blood occurs in the kidney only, and better reabsorption. So presence of this wavy structure increase the absorption surface, so better absorption of the nutrients and water, and thus even the secretion of unwanted waste material can happen. That's why functions of the cuboidal epithelium is protection, diffusion, filtration, reabsorption as well as secretion. This is what we talk all about the cuboidal epithelium. Now the third kind of epithelium we are going to discuss. So what is that, the third type? Yes, you can guess. Already I have mentioned about that. And that is mainly column-like cells they are. So what we call them, when they are column-like cells, we call them as columnar epithelial cells. Okay. So columnar epithelium also we are going to discuss, and where we can find the columnar epithelial cells. Yes, the columnar epithelial cells can be seen in the most of digestive system only, whether it may be the stomach or it may be the intestine. Yes, we can find them. So the third kind of mainly the epithelium is columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium. So yes, columnar epithelium cells or columnar epithelial cells. So as such, the cells are tall and they are slender. So slender means thin, and they are tall enough. And these kind of cells, when they are arranged on the common basement membrane, and the nuclei are basal by nature, means towards the base the nucleus is there. Inside you can find a lot of these substances of mainly absorption and secretion. So columnar epithelial cells we can find mainly in the intestine as well as in the stomach. So presence of columnar epithelium mainly increases the absorption surface as well as secretory surface. So here the lower one, yes, we say basement membrane, and then these are again we can say that nucleus. Single is nucleus, many are nuclei we say, and these are mainly what we call the tall column like cells, like cell. So nucleus by nature, basal in nature, basal. Fine. So as such, what the structure reveals, we can say that by structurally, structure of the columnar epithelium, tall, slender cells, nucleus, basal, and then yes, cells compactly arranged on common basement membrane without intercellular space, no intercellular space. Then yes, where else we can see these cells location as such? We can find the columnar epithelial cells mainly in stomach and intestine. What are the main functions? So As such, the functions, no doubt they provide the protection, absorption and secretion. Okay, so yes, mainly nutrient storage. They also do that. So that's columnar epithelial cells as such. No doubt they are found in the stomach and intestine, and in between them we can find there are special kind of cells, goblet cells or mucus cells. Along with the mucus cell and these columnar epithelial cells, as they are compactly arranged, they provide the protection. And then they are also involved in as such. What is the major role of stomach and intestine? Intestine is a major site of digestion as well as absorption. So nutrients are absorbed, then what will happen? They may be storing those nutrients when it is a body not required, and even there may be secretory also by nature. They may be secreting certain intestinal secretions, and then they may be also providing the supply of the nutrients to the required cells. This is what we talk all about the columnar epithelial cells. You need to remember, when the columnar epithelial cells are tall, slender, column-like, nucleus is basal, basement membrane is there, no much any of the intercellular space or the gap. So the next one we are going to study is the fourth kind, is called as ciliated columnar epithelium. So we call it as the fourth kind. It is ciliated. The fourth type is ciliated columnar epithelium. As such, ciliated columnar epithelium has the modifications, what we call them, mainly presence of cilia. So presence of cilia we can say, and yes, these are the cilia or cytoplasmic projections only, we can call them, or they are modifications of the plasma membrane itself, we can say. So cilia when present, then it is called as ciliated columnar epithelium, which is a fourth kind. And in fact, we are going to discuss mainly tall, slender, nucleus, basal cells compactly arranged on the common basement membrane. Everything remains the same, and most important difference is we can call them as apical cilia. So lots of these hair-like structures present at the upper end, we call them as apical cilia present. We can say here, add one more word, that is, so apical surface has minute hair-like projections